Hey, so we're back for part 2 of the ultimate guide to skincare. So just to recap, before, in the last video, we discussed mainly the importance of inversions. This is something that's often ignored because most people don't practice inversions unless they're practicing yoga or they're into maybe some acrobats or acrobatic activity or something of that sort. But because gravity is acting all the time, we have to give skin that ability to rest. So we need to take gravity and put it to our advantage by doing an inversion as I illustrated in the mat in the previous video. One thing I want to mention about inversions is that you want to make sure that your head is perfectly aligned, just like it is right now. The head is perfectly aligned. You don't want to be doing an inversion and have your head like this. You don't want to be looking down because gravity then is acting in the wrong axis. You want to be very aligned, so you have to dominate the inversion so that you can actually have that head aligned. Otherwise, I suggest you do the simple version, the preparation to headstand that I illustrated in the previous video. So if you do that, then gravity is acting in the right orientation, pulling up, which is what you're constantly experiencing, which is the opposite of pulling down. Then I also mentioned moisturizing and hydration, locking in the moisture. One thing that I didn't mention in that video is the importance of this for the joints. Anywhere where there are joints, the knees, near the ankles, the toes, the fingers, the wrists, elbows, where there's movement, there is constant stress on the skin. And so in that case, what I suggest you do is to actually get some sort of natural oil that you apply twice a day in the morning to those joints. And that actually is going to provide greater protection to that skin area so that it will maintain itself over time. So that's that. So we got oil and the inversions. So another thing that's important is UV protection. If you are a fair skin, then you will need more UV protection. People often associate skin color with being something that should be rejected. And we've come through a long history, humans, with a lot of racism, when in fact, skin color is a perfect match for the environment. If I live in Africa or India or Saudi Arabia, where the sun is very intense, then if I'm fair-skinned, more UV radiation can come into my skin and penetrate and cause mutations in my DNA, damage my skin. That actually is not a survival advantage. So in that case, having a lot of pigmentation is good because it protects you from the UV radiation. If now I live in the north where it's really cold, and in this case there's less sunlight, particularly in the winter time, then having a lot of pigmentation is a disadvantage, because in that case I will not be able to produce enough vitamin D, because you need sun to produce vitamin D. It's a reaction occurs in the skin. So if I have a lot of pigmentation, that's going to be lessened. In the north, that's why when you have a baby, the doctor will recommend to put the baby in a vitamin D supplement, because it may not be getting enough sunlight to be able to produce the vitamin D. So in the same way, if I am fair-skinned, I have less pigment to protect me from UV radiation. Therefore, I have to be more concerned about that. If I'm darker skinned, then protecting from UV radiation is not as much of a concern. So one of the things that I always recommend, that I do personally, is that I apply in the areas that are exposed. Let's say in my arms, if I have a short sleeve, or in my neck and face, I apply moisturizing protection with UV protectants. So a moisturizer with UV protectants that will actually help protect my skin. It does have an anti-aging effect. It will protect your skin. So that's another important thing to keep in mind. So UV protection. And of course, yesterday we also described the importance in that other video of diet. You want to have a very well-balanced diet that covers the entire spectrum of the rainbow. This involves eating a whole plant-based diet, preferably live, raw, so that you can actually nurture your being with subtle energies. We are moving into an era in medicine where we're going to be straying away from pharmacology, from expensive technologies, to vibrational medicine, energy-based medicines that are going to be the future of mankind as we start to realize that we are more than just a physical body. And so we need to consider that the food that we eat has an impact. In a future video, I will discuss how food impacts you at other levels, let's say mental or emotional, let's say. And so by keeping the body pure, you actually keep your skin pure. And there are breathing techniques that I mentioned in the associated blog, the link below, that will help purify you. But these breathing exercises cannot be carried out very lightly. You must be carry them out very vigorously. They must generate heat and sweat. And some of the toxins in your body will be released through that sweat. If you eventually reach a state of purity and balance, then doing those breathing exercises, the sweat can actually be massaged back into yourself because that sweat is very cleansing. It's clean. You're pure already. But if you're not, if your lifestyle is such that you're not pure of body or mind or spirit, then you actually do not want to massage that back in. You want to actually go shower instead. Persistent practice of these breathing techniques, persistent cultivation of the right habits, the company of enlightened ones, reading enlightened books, listening to a different type of music, reconnecting with nature, all of these serve a purifying effect. And in the case of what this video is about, it will be reflected on your skin more. So if you eat better, you think better, you live better, you have better habits, you will be purer, cleaner. All your subtle channels will be different. They will be cleansed. You can get to that point where you remain in balance and you never waver from that balance point, and it will reflect it in your skin, in your mood, and in your health. So much so that you will not drift too far away from that balance point. You will not go to the extremes where disease and anxiety or depression, any type of mental health issue may arise, or physical health issue. I haven't mastered the art of health by wavering away from that balance point. And often people think that you have to live in excess to do so. You don't. That you don't. Some people like to live in excess. They like to do stuff. They like to have fun. They like to do certain things, and they think, oh, if I'm going to be in balance, maybe I can do certain things that I enjoy. That's not necessarily true, but you have to actually be a little bit more moderate and smart. So when I do certain things, for example, maybe I stayed up late one day. We went out to some event. Maybe it's New Year's. I stayed up out late. Maybe had a few beers or some wine or something. Then I need to actually very quickly bring myself back to that center. Whatever I did that brought me to the extremes, I need to counteract it to bring me back to the center. So you want to keep that in mind. If I'm giving a lecture at a big audience, I'm projecting a lot of energy. Let's think of like a Tony Robbins, for example, or a Grant Cardone at the 10X conference that he was here in Miami recently. They're projecting outwardly a lot that is drifting them away in that activity, is agitating them, is changing their frequency. You must be in tune with that vibrational, a subtle aspect of yourself, so you can bring yourself back. So again, my name is Ram. I'm known as the DNA Hacker. I'll be explaining what DNA hacking is in the near future. And I'm the founder and owner of Ramos Rooted Tree. Visit the website. We're going to be posting great content in the blog. There is already a blog with more information related to skincare, and I suggest you check it out. If you want a coaching session for free, again, go to my website and go to work with us and apply. Namaste.